Now it's just a matter of tweaking the points, which we can do here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to component mode, select points. I'll select these corner points here and switch over to move mode, and what I will do is just make sure that they snap to the right grid line. I'm holding down X and I select the Z arrow here, and then I middle mouse click and jiggle the mouse at that point. Now I'm going to hold down X, click on the up arrow or the Y arrow, and I'm just going to wiggle the middle mouse button around that grid line there, and that has positioned this row of vertices into the correct position. Make sure that you do select one axis at a time, otherwise you'll move all of the points to one single point, or you'll move the center of those points to a single point. And now, because this is going to be on the outside of the where we're going to be able to see this object, we don't need to worry about it too much, but just to make sure that it lines up with that point there, what I'm going to do is hold down the V key to snap to vertices, and on the Y axis I'm just going to middle mouse just sort of tug at that vertice just to line it up so it's a nice flat surface. Now hopefully if we go back to this view, we can see that everything is nice and flat there. And now we just need to get rid of our measurement lines. So with the main object selected, I'm going to do a shift drag around the all of those objects, which will deselect anything that's selected and select anything that's not selected, and I'll just delete those out. And there we go. We have our object, which is pretty much ready to export to ZBrush, and we'll also be exporting from this point when we go back into UDK. Okay, now I did say that this model is more or less ready to be exported for ZBrush, but I was getting a little bit ahead of myself because there are a couple of things that it is probably good practice to fix up before we do that. The first thing is that if we look over in our translation and scale parameters here for our object, we do have these set to something other than base values of 0 and 1. So what we can do to fix that is we can go up to Modify, and we just click on Freeze Transformations. And there we have it. We now have 1 in all scale and 0 in our translate and rotate parameters. Also over in this section we can see that it's still named polyplane 1. Now it's a good idea if you are if you're using Maya a lot to always rename objects as you create them, as you know what they're going to be. Just give them a meaningful name. So for this one I think I'll have just go for quarter pipe 01. And that'll also help if we forget to check any of the checkboxes in our export. It'll default to that with our the naming of our object. And now, just in case there have been any, we can see down here there isn't any additional history that has been put on our object. If there has, you just come down here and delete history, delete by type history, and I'll just do that again, just sort of because it doesn't really hurt to do that. Alright, now now we are almost ready to export out. What I'll do now is I will create a project for our object. With the object selected, I'm just going to go down to Project New, and here's the default sort of area for saving our projects, and it will create a new folder for the project, and we will name that Underground Game Design Course. I might take out any spaces just in case. It actually won't matter, but it's just good to keep it common with all the other naming conventions that we're using. So Maya to ZBrush. Yes, I am a slow typer. To UDK. And for our project locations, I'm just going to say use defaults. A lot of these folders will be created and never used, but it doesn't take up that much space on the hard drive, and sorry, I should put this up in the camera recording area. I just clicked on the use defaults button to generate all of these. It's a good idea to have those folders there if we need to use them later on anyway. So we'll just click on accept. So we've created a project folder, and I'm just going to make sure that I set the current project to be the project folder that I've just created. I'm just going to save this scene as, and we can see there it is in the appropriate folder. I'll just save it as, there we go. And now all we need to do is export out an OBJ file that ZBrush will be able to open and modify. So I showed you before how to make or where to make sure that you have the OBJ export loaded, and it's under the plugin manager. So with that loaded, we can go to I'll go to export selection and the option box here, and it is an OBJ export, that is correct. And for all of these, I'm not sure if these really help or hurt anything when we're transferring across to ZBrush, because we're not going to be actually transferring the OBJ file back as a morph target or anything like that. I will switch on smoothing, normals, and the rest is fairly irrelevant because we don't have any materials groups or point groups applied to the object. And so we can export this selection. Now it will save in the data folder in our project base folder, and so I'll just name this Maya ZBrush UDK 01 and export. And there we go. I'm going to pause this video and open up ZBrush just so that we don't have too much of a heavy load while we're recording. So I'll see you soon in ZBrush.